Hi, this is Lieutenant Rabbit. I've upgraded to the Hotaz Warthog. So I'm making a video just about a little bit of the stuff that I haven't seen on YouTube. Like most of my reviews, I try and cover the little bits that are left out. This is the birth of my simpit. So the old joystick I was using just wasn't cutting it anymore. Excuse the mess, because you're in my home right now. Because I'm still organising things around, yeah, to clean up and do whatnot. Yeah, so that's the old joystick I was using. That you could see that, you know, when I was flying it'd be a bit jittery, and it took a lot of adjustment, and still I couldn't get the smooth turning. There's just nowhere near as many sensor points in this as there is in the Warthog. This was great for Arma 2 or pretty much any other flight simulator. I had great fun with it, but yeah. Moving on, it got me by, now it's time to get serious. So this is the start of my simpit. Like I said, I've got a steering wheel at the moment that I'm using for my pedals. That's not cutting it either, so I'm going to move on to, what do you call it, combat pedals, because they've got the brake on each side of them. Like there'll be a brake at the tip and a brake at the tip here, and they swivel like a real plane, whereas these ones, they don't have the brake, which I use the wheel brake now as this, which is unassigned in the simulator, this little lever, which is good to have that extra button there because yeah, it's one less button I have to press on the keyboard, which I don't really use anymore. All the buttons that you need are on the throttle or the joystick now, so I really only use the keyboard for menus and things like that, which is quite good. And at the moment that'll be wheel brake, but when I get the pedals, then I'll be using that as the track IR setting, because I still use the keyboard as the track IR setting, but it's just easier to have that as wheel brake, so I don't have to, you know, touch the keyboard even less. So the next steps will be to bring this down somewhere near where the joystick is, somewhere around here, and I'll get the two MFCDs displaying through DCS, because you can do that, and then get the Cougar MFDs to put over the top, stick that there, so then I won't have to use the mouse to press the buttons on the MFCD, which will just reduce the you know, computer kind of simulate, you know, to make it more like a simulator than it will like a computer. Now moving on to what I've done with this so far, which is it's like a good, you know, $30 to $40 joystick stand mod. So it's cheap and it works. It's not very sturdy, but it's sturdy enough to not really notice that much at all. I might need to put like some kind of, you know, filling agent or something in wherever it's moving, but at the moment none of it's stuck down. Which is good, because I do plan on being able to take the joystick with me. So yeah, that's 10cm tubing, which you can see the cap on the top is pretty much perfect. You don't want any, you know, any smaller than that, and it's not going to work, and it's not going to be sturdy enough. I reckon it'll be a bit looser. So that to that is not attached, it's just a cap put on the top. There's nothing sticking it there, so you know, it's portable. So what I did is I just put drill holes in there. I stuck it under this, and you know, just mapped it out where the holes were as best I could, and then, you know, drilled the holes, stick it on here. But when you know, stick one in, this warps a little bit, so you might want to, you know, 3 hands or have someone to give you a hand, because it's very difficult to screw all of them in even. Yeah, but other than that, that's just screwed into the top of the lid. You got the tubing, and in the bottom there on this plate, I've just screwed into this board 4 screws on the inside, and then just put the tube, plopped it in, monk. And it works great, and it's a very cheap solution. It doesn't look the prettiest, but I'm not going for pretty, I'm going for function. I don't really care how it looks, just as long as the functions are there, and you know, when you turn out the lights, it feels like you're actually flying the A10. That's all that matters. So far that's what I'm going to do. Replace that with a big TV, put it down, MFCDs, and you know, possibly put like a little bit of the center console in the middle, so the ADI and the HSI and stuff like that, so it looks kind of like the front of the aircraft, so I can just, you know, bop my head down and have a look. And I reckon that'll be enough for me. So it's going to take a little while, you know, a bit of money. I think I've worked it out to probably another $500 on top of that, I reckon. So for $1,000 you could probably build a really good flight simulator, as long as you've got, you know, some junk left around, because I'm not taking into account the cost of LCD monitors, which I've just got coming out the wazoo. Still got more over here. The house is a mess, but that's beside the point. It's not normally this dirty. Anyway, so we'll move on to this. Actually, no, we'll talk about this. I've cut this at about chair height, and the reason for doing that is because it kind of feels right and it's comfortable. I mean, when you've got to press these buttons, you don't want your hand coming up. It's very uncomfortable with your thumb. You don't want to strain your thumb, so you want to have your thumb, you know, your hand kind of coming in, you know, like that, you know, level or under, so you don't strain your thumb when you're pressing the buttons. Which, you know, it's a good size. I mean, you know, I don't know how left-handers will go, because yeah, it feels a little uncomfortable, but I'm pretty sure you have to fly with the right hand anyway, just because that's the way that there's no left-handed variant of the A10 that I'm aware of. Yeah, this. One thing that I haven't noticed, I watched a lot of, you'll all be aware of like the indent where you have to pull that up to start the engines, put them into idle, push it forward for your throttle, you know, turn the engine off, lift it up, pull it down. One thing I haven't noticed though, in any of the reviews, is this little thing here. Turn that to the right, it stiffens this. And if you turn it to the left, it makes it looser. Because when I first got it, it was very loose, and I thought, oh, it doesn't really feel very stable. So you can, you know, adjust that to, you know, the stiffness that you like, which is a good kind of comfort thing. Really, everyone's flavour is different, and I do enjoy it, you know, a little bit tougher than it was, because when I first started, you know, you're a bit, I guess, straining to learn, so eventually with your hand leaning on there, it does eventually go into full throttle without you even knowing, because it's so, you know, over a period of time you don't notice the engines power up. So that's one thing that I've noticed. Yeah, the other thing that I've noticed, someone mentioned it and I never really thought of it, you're not just getting a quality product from Thrustmaster, because it's a replica of the A10, you're looking at, you know, quite a few decades of research and development from, you know, pilots and, you know, military researchers and scientists. Because ever since the F4 Phantom, they've been refining these controls. So you're actually getting something that's been tried and tested over a few decades, and it really does feel that way, because the buttons, they're where they would be. They're easy to remember. Like, after you get used to it, like this finger here, you wouldn't think it, but it controls the slew. So that's, you know, your naughty finger. That controls the slew, which you wouldn't think is, you know, intuitive, but after you're there for a while, you go, oh yeah, that's pretty good, you know, that makes sense, because this finger here looks after the sensors of interest, which is good. Everything seems to, you know, be where it should be, and the important ones that are, you know, they're kind of a little out of the way so that you can remember them easier. It's, yeah, it's really good, and it's quite easy to learn. Translating the keyboard, like, from memory, learning all of that and putting it into here did take a bit of time. I've only had, you know, probably about three and a half hours in total to play with these, so I don't really have too much to say about the actual thing, the performance on it. Apart from that, it's great. Yeah, converting the keyboard presses to what you're going to have to remember in here does take a little while, but yeah, it becomes intuitive after a little while. Oh, jeez. My son's going nuts. Yeah, so I've drilled this into the top of a computer, which, you know, it might want to sit a little bit higher, but it's comfortable for me. The keyboard, I might put that on another computer-sized stand here to work as the kick U on the right side, which is like the computer part for those of you who aren't too familiar with all the terminology in DCSA 10. Yeah, so it does work really good. All the buttons that you need. So you really don't use the keyboard much anymore. The only thing that I've noticed, because I don't just play DCSA 10 and I'm new to the flight simulators, so it's not the only thing I play. I play Arma 2. The target software that comes with Thrustmaster, like it doesn't actually come with it, but you go to the Thrustmaster website and download it. I've only really had a couple of minutes with it, so I don't really, I can't really give you like a proper review of that yet. But it does look a little bit difficult because I've gone into the advanced mode and just seen the advanced mode for a little bit, and had a little bit of a play with it, and it does look quite advanced. So setting up your own things for Arma is a bit difficult because yeah, you need to learn the software first, and not all the buttons register with Windows. So you know, that button won't register, and if you're thinking of using that for, you know, autopilot, you can't just flip the switch because Arma won't pick it up. So you have to go and use the target software, which, don't get me wrong, I reckon it's great because you can get backwards compatibility, and there are profiles out there. I found a profile for Falcon BMS, so you just download that and install it, and there you go. It'll work with Falcon, so it'll work like the F-16 stick and throttle. Yeah, so if you want to build your own, you've got to use Target, unless you can download one off the internet if you find it. Other than that, it's really good. So yeah, just remember the hand comfortableness, and also when you're doing Arma or any other, you know, game, the only thing is with DCSA 10 it's very intuitive, like I said, just where the buttons are. So converting it over to Arma, which I haven't done yet, might be a little bit confusing because, you know, what would you have as autopilot? You know, you want to have all the buttons that you'd use quickly and freely up the top here, so, you know, easy to reach, and then whatever other buttons on here. But there's a crap load of buttons to use. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. It's just remembering when you're swapping between DCS and Arma 2, which is a problem, because remembering those buttons for DCS is a task. Because you do get used to them. You do need to rely on your memory to be able to use them. So yeah, just try and keep the button assignments as close as you can to the other games that you play, so then that way you're not going to get too confused, because there is a lot of buttons on there. That's the only thing I can think of. That might be, it's not really a downside, it's just something that you might need to think of when you know, if you do make the jump to getting the Thrustmaster. So to show off my the rest of my simpit, I don't know, I still get a couple of questions about the track IR. There's not many people who watch, well, there's probably a lot of people who watch my videos, but, you know, only a couple of people have commented on them, and it's usually about track IR, and to be honest, I don't know if you're trolling or not, so I've just let it go, because, to be honest, you know, they're quite simple questions. How much is the track IR in pounds? Use a currency converter online, it's quite easy. This is what I got in the pack. I got that, I got a warranty, which, you know, that's the little computer in there that calculates everything, so, you know, there's no lag on the game. I got this, which works fantastic. It clips onto the side of your headphones using, you know, this foam stuff, and it won't clip now, but it clips when you put a headphone in there. And that works great, but for ease of use, I use the hat. And this is the clip that you get with it, just that metal clip. It's just got prongs that hold it on, so you just kind of put the prongs under the hat, and the tension with the center sensor and the side prongs holds it on. That you get that, you get the, you know, IR thing, you get the track IR webcam. You get like a warranty. You go to the website, you download the software's free because you've purchased the product. Even if you don't have the product, you can purchase you can just download the software, I think. But yeah, it doesn't, you know, you don't have to pay for it, it's free. And these are the headphones I use. They're pretty good. They're the you know, I don't really play Modern Warfare, but I used to. They're the Delta Turtle Beach Delta Charlie something headphones. They're really good. 5.1, because you have to have 5.1 these days, and you know, I've heard people say that 5.1 doesn't come out too well on headphones, and you know, these are pretty good. It doesn't, you know, take, you know, it's not like awesome 5.1, but you can tell if something's behind you, which is all that matters, because like I said, I'm not going for pretty, I'm not going for expensive, you know, as budget as I can get for, you know, bang for buck really, and these work pretty good. I think these were like 150 or something on sale. My wife got them for Father's Day, which is great, but I do like this. You know, you get the options for the sub and, you know, left and right speakers and center speaker and everything on the actual thing, and that, you know, that's cool. I'm a fan, you know, that's the volume, and because I'm going for, like, you know, the military kind of feeling, even though there's no radio like this on the A10, it still is cool to have it hanging off you. Makes you feel awesome, because it's all about the feeling, and it's not really about, you know, sounds lame to other people. So the microphone's off when it's red, microphone's on when it's green, turn it off, easy. They get quite loud, which is good. That uses a USB as well for power, so I'm going to need to get a USB hub as well, which I think you can probably get for about 50 bucks. So remember as well, you need USB hubs, because the amount of products that you're going to be using to make a simpit is quite a lot. That's a USB. If you want to use that, it's a USB, but that has like an adapter so that you can plug that into that, which I don't use because I use the hat. That's a USB, that's a USB, that's a USB, that's a USB, plus whatever, you know, the mouse, keyboard's a USB, and I've got like my little, you know, tablet there, which I haven't got plugged in at the moment because I'm running out of USBs. But that's basically it. And the MFCDs are going to be another 2 USBs from my understanding. So when I buy the Cougar MFDs and stick them on, yeah, that's another USB. So think about that when you're building a simpit too, and also the cost of board, because that's something that I don't know what it is. What is that? Damn kids leaving chocolate everywhere. I'm sure that wasn't there before. Another thing as well, if you don't like the lights, I think the lights are cool. I mean, they come out different on video. They're like a neon green on here, but they're actually like an awesome army deep green in real life. Yeah, they're really cool, but with the target software that you can download from Thrustmaster, you can adjust the brightness, and you can also turn them off, which is handy. But you know, I'm all about experience, so I turn the lights off and get that happening and plug it in together. So I think that is the kit cue. You know, on the right side, get the 2 MFCDs and the little bit or whatever in the middle to display, so you can just put your head down to look at like your ADI and your HSI. Get some combat pedals, so, you know, piff that off to another computer so I can play Dirt 2 on another computer. And I reckon that'll cover it, because so far with the headphones, the Track IR, the experience is great, and you know, putting that in is yeah, like 40 bucks, and it's worth it, because you know, if you want to make it like a, you know, build a simpit, you know, it's awesome fun. I mean, just playing that, you know, alone is an awesome experience just now. But it's going to get better with the MFCDs and all that kind of stuff, and yeah, replace that with a nice big 42-inch and I'll be laughing. So when I've had a bit more of a play with it, because I've really only had, you know, 3-4 hours or whatever to play, I might give you a better review possibly. If not, I'll just go back to doing some DCS videos, because with that now, I'm learning a lot more stuff, because it's easier to use than the keyboard, it's easier to remember, so now I know how to broadcast a sensor point of interest, so the guy, you know, your wingman can actually pick up your sensors. and the keyboard, I don't know what the buttons were, but now I've learnt that this nifty little switch here, just the switch itself, so that's normal, that's black hot, that's white hot. So now you can change your video modes on the TGP just by flipping that switch. So instead of, you know, taking your hands off everything and holding control, oh shit, what button is it? You can just flip the switch. Yeah, it's great. So for now, that's probably all I've got. I might just, you know, post some videos of the gradual birth of my simpit to see, you know, how it comes out. But yeah, that's excellent. You know, $40. What, 30 or 40 bucks? You get yourself a stand. Use an old computer. Drill it in on the 4 sides because it comes with a little drill thing. Bang! Awesome. You got yourself pretty much almost like half an A10 or quarter of an A10. I don't think I'm going to go nuts and get panels ordered and built and things like that, because I really can't be bothered with the wiring. You know, say like in 10-20 years, if they decide to come out with, you know, actual A10 panels, sure, why not? If someone's going to pre-make them for me, I will put them in. But I'm just not going to spend the time to do it and, you know, build it myself. From my understanding, I checked, it's like £600 or something from a company in England that will actually make the panels. Yeah, so other than that, I might, yeah, gradually be posting videos on the birth of my simpit, and yeah, I hope this has covered any little tidbits that you might like, and yeah, this is Lieutenant Rabbit, and I'll see you another time.